Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman, or Bat Dad, or Thomas Wayne Batman. It's the red and gray one with the pointy shoulders, which is like probably Todd McFarlane's favorite Batman. Guessing, just because of the color scheme and the shoulders. Just a hunch. And it happens to be probably the best Batman figure they've made to date. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Is it a perfect figure? Certainly not, but there is a lot of good stuff going on here. We're going to talk about the good stuff, and I'm going to point out the bad stuff too, because this is a review, and that's what you're supposed to do. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 18 centimeters to the top of his head, not counting his little nubbins, which puts him at just about, let's say, 7 1/8 inches, pretty close to that. And this guy is probably one of the better proportioned figures they've made. There's one caveat to that, though. His thighs are so skinny and his shins are so long. We're going to come back to this when we get to the accessories, but I just want to show you what a meaty set of thighs can do for an overall build. Like, they got the upper torso bulk pretty much spot on. His arms are pretty thick, it pinches in at the waist, but then his thighs don't really flare back out for the action figure. Obviously a little bit they do, but he needs a little bit more meat in those thighs. That would make him look so much better. But it does still look pretty good, especially if you just take from the waist up. It looks really good, and if you don't pay too much attention to the thighs, then it looks okay. Still really long lower legs, though. I don't know why that's become such a thing with these companies. It's not how it works. Your shins should be shorter than your thighs. Okay, so other details. How does it look? Well, the Bat logo is painted very nicely. That is sculpted, of course. The musculature is all pretty solid, other than the thighs being skinny. They are also kind of oddly shaped. You're missing a chunk of muscle in the middle there. There's like a V-shaped, like two-piece muscle right there. So you have the two big quads, and then you have that. Anyway, that's not there. It's just gone. But it looks okay, and that's fairly well hidden by the costume design, so that's alright. This doesn't have a wash on it, probably should, would make it look nice, but it's okay, still looks decent. No shading anywhere as far as I can tell, but decent sculpt for the gauntlets and the boots. And then the cape is just done really well. I think they did a good job with that. Looks like cloth, and then they put the nubbins on there, so that's good. Let's take a look at the head, which is generally their weakest point. That's a really nice Batman cowl. He's frowny, he looks good, it looks like the Thomas Wayne Batman. I think that is their best Batman head sculpt by far. And I'd say the best head sculpt overall if it wasn't for the fact that their Superman heads keep looking pretty solid. But this is a dang good one. The cowl itself, maybe not the mouth part because it looks a little flat and weird looking, but the cowl itself might be their best sculpt so far for a head. That is nice, that is a good sculpt. So, aesthetically speaking, I think it's pretty good. I think it probably should have some shading or a wash somewhere, but I don't know that it absolutely needs it, which is probably what they were thinking, because there's enough variation. The composition is good enough that you don't need that. It's not necessary. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's a solid release for sure, aesthetically speaking. You put some meatier thighs on there and you wouldn't even notice any of the other problems. So that's pretty cool. So as far as the accessories go, all you get are his two pistols, which appear to be Desert Eagles with like short grip, but Desert Eagles, and then you get his black display stand if you want that, and the trading card if you want that. And that's it. So not a ton, no punchy hands or anything like that. So 6 out of 10, punchy hands. As far as I'm concerned, if you're making a Batman figure, even if he does come with guns, he should have some punchy hands. You know? Okay. So punchy hands would be nice. So yeah, 6 out of 10. All right, let's talk about the articulation. Will it work? I don't know. Let's find out. Ball peg for sure. Ooh, nice leanage. Look at that, no lollipop, and you can still get the head to lean. It's almost like that's possible, and I've been saying it for years, and now we finally have somebody doing it outside of NECA. Doesn't look up all that far, could definitely go a little farther if they wanted to. Same thing with going down, very limited. You have more range side to side than you have front to back, and there's really no reason for it because it's all the same joint. But it does work. That'll definitely get the job done. That is okay. Shoulders still have a ball peg going into the torso with a cap right there. It lets it move around. Again, it doesn't hurt anything, but the way they're doing it, it just doesn't help anything. So I don't know why they're wasting the budget on that. I mean, realistically, the amount of range you get, especially on a figure with a cape like this, it just... like, it might help somebody who's being very particular about their photography if they're doing that, but anybody who's just posing the figure, like, that amount of range isn't doing anything, you know? Okay. keep saying you know. Maybe you don't. You're watching the review after all. Maybe you want me to know. And I told you. But okay, so the arms do go out to the side pretty well. No issues there. You do get your full rotation outside of the cape blocking it. That's to be expected. Bicep swivel works all right. Double jointed elbow is ugly, but it works up until you hit the gauntlet, which is, again, reasonable. Ball hinge wrists, those will be just fine. The ball hinges are big enough in the wrist that they're not super noticeable, so that's good. And then for the torso, it has decent range going back and sideways, and of course it'll rotate, but going forward, there is no range for no reason. That is ridiculous. And it's gappy. No range. And what about the lower torso? Oh, it's very stiff, but it does lean a little bit. I can't really get it to do much. Okay, so that just is, I'm going to count that as not working. It moves, but mine won't. So that's that. These guys are nice and soft, unlike the ones on the Red Hood, which are like the hardest plastic known to man. And so that's pretty good. They'll work. Although these should be connected and should slide up and down the leg. Those should be connected. I don't know why they're not. That is poor choice. Why did you do that? Is there a thigh swivel in there? Nope. Weird choices. All right, so you get about 45 going out to the side. Going forward, the diaper gets in the way a lot. Going back, not much room. Double jointed knee does work pretty well. That's okay. And then for the ankle, they just did the cut thing again with the tiny joint. That is so terrible. You get bad range. Also, their ratchets are such heavy and big ratchets that posing this guy is a nightmare. It's almost impossible to get him to stand flat because you only have like 2 positions of ankle. And it's really, really not good. Even when you rotate it, you don't get much of an ankle rocker because of how terrible focus. I always lose focus on the freaking ankles, which is probably good because these ankles are bad and you don't want to look at them too much. But little ball hinge, big flat cuts, doesn't work. Toe hinge is huge and way too far back and too floppy, so ankles and feet are terrible as usual. Okay, articulation on this guy, 7 out of 10. Too many problems, some good things, but the problems pull everything back. Final verdict on this guy, best Batman from McFarlane? Yes. Is that saying much? Not really. They've had a lot of bad Batmans and a lot of mediocre Batmans, and it's not going to be too hard to improve upon those things. So this guy is a lot like the other releases in that there are good, well, most other releases, in that there are a lot of good things, really good things in fact, but then it's just pulled right back down by the bad things that don't need to exist. I don't know why that keeps happening with the McFarlane line. They've made so many good figures in the past, whether they're articulated or not. They've done them both very successfully. It's just weird to me that they keep doing so many weird things that hurt these figures. Let me just put it that way. They're so close to being great, but then they end up being average. So, I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about that. But I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 7 out of 10. The articulation problems, the fact that it's almost impossible to get him to stand straight up even, that's just not acceptable. The torso not working, not acceptable. The hips not really working, not acceptable. The ankle joints are just terrible. It's just too much stuff that's not really acceptable at this point because it wouldn't cost them any more to make them better. So that's my take. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.